So guys, first proper outing with a bike, a bit of off-road, a bit of on-road. Thought I'd do a bit of a voiceover on the start of this video, showing you some of the hazards on the road. It's fairly shaly, as you can see coming up now, a couple of rocks on the road there, going right between the middle of them. And you'll see on the bends as they come up, lots of shale, sand washed down onto the road. See this bend coming up now, all the sand, shale on the road, going around the bend, loads of sand on the road. So generally the conditions of the road are very unnerving, especially to a new or novice rider, and especially if you're using a bike with slick or road tyres on, I should say, not slicks but road tyres as opposed to intermediates. And you can see on most of these bends as we're coming around them that you'll see some form of shale or sand on the road. On the video the road looks pretty good tarmac wise and smooth. It actually feels like it's been laid with a knife and fork with a couple of guys that have been on the beer all morning. It's probably one of the worst rural roads around where we actually live, and it's in most vehicles it's pretty horrendous to drive down. You just get shook to bits, to be honest. The good thing about the Enfield, and it's really surprised me, is that it just soaks all the bumps up. There's just no discomfort riding on this particular road on the Royal Enfield. The other two bikes I've currently got at the moment, the Royal Enfield, the Benelli 500 Twin, is more of a sports suspension, and it can be softened up a little bit, but it's a real bone shaker on these roads. Likewise, the big Suzuki 15VL Intruder is very soft, but again the steering is very, very slow on that bike, with it having a long wheelbase and a very long rake on the steering. So again, not enjoyable, but this particular outing today was really fun. The road I'm on now is actually coming down out of the mountains, so not as much fun as actually coming back, because on the way down you have to use braking, front and rear braking. Good thing about the Enfield, with the braking on the front of the Enfield, it's not overly sharp, it's not vicious. It's obviously better than the previous models, but what you'll find is if you're coming into a bend with sharp braking on a sports or a sports tourer, you pinch the brakes as you're entering a curve, and the bike will sit up rather sharply. It's not the case on the Enfield. You can give it a bit of a brake on the front brake going into a corner, because it's so soft and forgiving, the front brake. It's not going to grab that disc and sit the bike into an upright position. Anyway, just enjoy the views. The views are stunning coming down this particular stretching mountain, and I'll leave it with you, and I'll put a bit of a voiceover later in the video. As you can see, stunning scenery and stunning bends. So we're going to take a look at one of the forest trails, or the fire trails, that run all around the Monthly Mountains. They're pretty good, they're not too bad, but in places they're fairly shaly, and then it turns from shale to compacted rock. So again, without intermediate tyres or the right setup on the compacted rock, you get a bit of slide on back end slide out. The good thing about the Himalayan, you've got a bit of extra weight, especially with the new model. It's pushing on 200 kilos when it's fully loaded with petrol. That's a good thing and a bad thing. A good thing on these roads, because it keeps you well planted. I haven't had one instance where the back end has wanted to step out on me. As I say later on in this video, you can sit. I'm currently standing, as you probably guessed, because you can't see any of the controls, but it's just as it's easy if you're standing or sitting, and it's quite easy to ride quickly on these fire trails if you sat down. What would normally happen on a normal bike, as you come to a bend now, if you're sitting, as you took the bend, the back end would step out slightly and you'd have to correct it on the steering by counter steering quickly. The Royal Enfield Himalayan, no such problem, there's no step out at all. It's very confidence inspiring. I've said this before, but it gives you the confidence to ride and enjoy the scenery and enjoy the ride. So guys, what do I think? Well, the slogan that Royal Enfield have got out at the moment, made for no roads, made for all roads, pretty much true. It pretty much goes anywhere you want to take it really. Gravel, rutty roads, tarmac, it's pretty good in all conditions. The weird thing riding the Himalayan up this fire trail, it's very, very shaly. Some parts aren't too bad, pretty smooth shale. A lot of parts on the fire trail very, very rocky. You can see some of the rocks on the ground. Normally on any other type of bike, if you stand up you get a bit more control over the bike. If you sit down, your back end tends to kick out a little bit. What I found on the Himalayan, the back end's pretty stable. If you're sitting down or standing up, it doesn't kick out at all. There's no sense of it getting away from you. It's pretty grippy and well glued to the ground. It's an amazing feat they've done with the suspension on the bike. Like I say, still running it in at the moment, so we're only tootling. So what I find at low speeds, there is a fair bit of engine chatter and a bit of noise. There's no vibration compared to the, well, most of the 500 bullets or the classic series before you run them in and try and get over some of the vibrations. So all in all, it's pretty well grounded. It's a nice bike. It's a bike that you need to be aware of. It's only a 400cc single. You need to get the mind headset in place to slow down and just enjoy the environment. For what I want the bike for this type of scenario, coming up in the mountains, and you'll have seen on the video coming up, there was a lot of corners on the tarmac roads that had a lot of sand and shale on them. Now, I wasn't going too slow around the bends, but I wasn't overly cautious. I wasn't too bothered about the back end sliding away. And to be honest, going over all the shale and the grit and sand that was on the road, not once did the back end break loose. So it's very, very confidence inspiring on these type of roads. You can see today we're heading towards June, end of May. See some of the scenery up here in the mountains. We're quite fortunate at the moment because we've only got a high of 24 today, which is for a lot of northern Europeans, it's quite a warm, summery summer day. For us this time of year, it's quite mild. We're normally at about 30 at the moment, which is knocking in the high 90s. A sign there saying in Spanish that motorized vehicles or motorbikes, motos, are not permitted to go down these trails. You can see in front of us with the gate across and the small trails going around. On the mountain tracks going up, you can obviously ride with a bit of care and a bit of attention. But this trail actually goes up to an antenna mast array at the top of the mountain at 1,200 meters. I think where I started at our house, we were actually at 500 meters. So you're rising about 700 meters to get to the top of the mountain. Some stunning, stunning views. Most of the year, apart from when we get torrential rain, it's pretty dry like this, and pretty good weather during the day, all times of the year for going on these trails. Anyway, I'll get a bit more video going back, and I'll splice it all together, get it on YouTube, and let me know what you think. Any questions about the bike that you want to ask, please ask in the comments. It's not a problem. I'll be really straight and honest with you. There are a lot of people that are going to jump on this and think they're jumping on a tractor if you get off any other bike. Even my Benelli Twin 500 is a really fast little bike. Not top end wise, but it's a nippy, speedy bike around the bends. But this is a totally different ball game really. It is a true adventure bike that you can get on without having any fear or any trepidation. If you were to get on a BMW 1200 and RS and take it up here, you'd be worried sick about dropping it. 30 grand's worth of bike on the floor, as opposed to a $4.5 grand old adventure bike. Dollar for dollar, pound for pound, euro for euro, it's bang on there with the money really for what you want it for. Super little bike, can't say enough good things about it, but obviously we'll carry on through the running stage and see what it's like afterwards. Obviously I can take it over 3,000 revs after the run in, and it's never going to be super quick, but obviously it'll be more agile, using the gears to their full extent rather than short shifting. Anyway, I'll leave it here and I'll take a bit more video on the way back. guys, I've not bored you silly with this ride. It's a rather long video, I think about 15-16 minutes in total. But I just wanted you to experience the local landscape and the condition of the roads, and just really see how the Himalayan can handle all sorts of roads. As the Royal Enfield advert goes, made for no roads, made for all roads, so I think it's pretty apt. Anyway, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, leave a comment down below if you want to ask me any questions about the bike, and thanks for watching.